Hi, I'm the art teacher, and this is the Art Teacher Studio by Low Budget Presentation. And today we're going to be going into an art lesson that follows up with color. And the artist I've chosen to help with this is Peter Max. Peter Max was extremely well known back in the 60s. He was born in Germany and spent time as a child in Shanghai and China, and he traveled to Tibet, Israel, India. He was very well traveled as a child, and at age 16 he settled in New York City, and he was interested in space and American comic books, and soon became the theme with a lot of his artwork. Now, back in the 60s, he opened up a studio in New York City, and he was instantly popular. He made album covers, book jackets, mini posters, and that's pretty much how he looked back then. And that's part of the studio. You can see all the vivid colors, and his colors, he had jars and jars of colors. It wasn't just a palette. It was actually a lot of jars, and you can see the brushes he had there. And he was so popular that they even did an airplane in his style. They hired him to paint an entire airplane with this special design. And here's another look at his studio. And this was back in the 70s. And he pretty much stopped doing commercial work, like with making posters and such. He really focused more on his own personal artwork. And he would come out every now and then to do special posters, like this poster here. He was very much for the planet and the environment, things of that nature. So he did a special poster just for that. And he had a very stylized artwork, which means when you look at artwork, no matter what the subject matter is, you can tell that looks like Peter Max because of the vivid, bright colors he used. And you have what you call value change when it goes, or here it's blending, but here you can see some value where the color, the lightness and the darkness of a color come into play. But the main aspect here, the element of art I'm looking at now, is color. And you can see here a wide range of different stuff that he's done, different artwork. And now if you look at this picture, you can ask yourself, if you're going to criticize artwork, you look at it and say, what do you see? And what are the elements and principles of design? What's the intent? What is the artist trying to say in this picture? And then whether or not you like it or not. Now, one thing I do see is with all these shapes, we've talked about shapes, we've talked about lines, I see a lot of black lines around all the shapes. Almost like a very comic book feel to it. And with this particular picture here, I'm going to get an idea from it. So I'm going to leave this picture on my iPad. And now this is what I need you to remember. You need some bright colors for your artwork, some bright colors. You need some, like he has some birds, some stars, some spaceships. You could put rockets, something of that nature. Organic, remember the shapes I talked about, organic or geometric, is very organic. The only geometric shape here I see is the circle here. If you're going to put letters, they have to be stylized, which means kind of bubble-like letters, if you know how to do bubble letters or block letters. You can do sun rays, stars, clouds, planets, space, all that kind of stuff you can add into it. Now I'm going to show you how you can go about doing that. Now I'm going to move this to the side, and I'm going to get a little bit further out here. Now this is what I need you to do. You go to online, if you have online, a coloring book page. And here I said dogs coloring book pages. And this is one I had, just pulled one up. So if here is a dog I got. Now let's say you don't have the internet, which makes it be hard to watch this video. But you can get a coloring book page and get an image that you like, and then print it out or get it from a coloring book page, get another piece of paper, and what I'd like you to do is try to draw this picture here, whatever this picture might be. try to draw it here by just doing it this way, looking here and trying your best. Now, I'm not teaching you how to draw an animal this session. It doesn't matter how this picture is going to look. Trust me, it's not the drawing, it's the coloring. So now, but if for my first graders and my second graders, if you're having a very, very hard time, maybe even third graders, and I know even fifth graders might have a hard time, the easy cheat is you take the white paper, you put it over the coloring book page, and you can see how that shows up. Well, if you put this on a window, you can actually trace it. And you might think, well, why don't I just draw this or color on top of this? Well, when you trace it, it gives it a little bit different feel to it than just drawing this. But ideally, you should just look at this picture and try it, draw it here. Again, try to do more than just one or two of these, if you can. Okay, so let me move this to the side. I did one like this. This is my little puppy right there. So let me zoom a little closer. Ooh, wrong way. Now, I made copies of this so I can show you the different ways of doing this. For instance, once you draw your dog, cat, horse, whatever object it is you want, you can start putting stuff inside of it. Wild, crazy stuff. And you don't have to do exactly like Peter Max, but kind of use Peter Max as an example. And here's another one I did. Now, this one doesn't have anything down here, but I could put other things in here, like this. Now, I could do this in a very much Peter Max style by how I color it, and I can add extra things in here, like a sun, and then sun rays, and a cloud, which really would make this kind of weird to have a window here floating in the background where there's sky and a lamp. It could be really, really strange. But I'm going to show you with this picture here how I can make this more into a Peter Max style. Okay, I think you can still see the dog. Okay, and remember, I'm going to look at this as my guide. Something in here. So let me take my pencil here. Oh, that's a good pencil here. All right, I'm going to draw a horizontal line like this. I stop at the dog, start back over here, and I'm going to do a sun, the sun back here. Now, I could either draw it myself, or I could get something that's round and think, do I want the sun here or here in the middle? Where do I want the sun to be? I have to imagine if it's here or here. Which do you think? Should I do it here, on the tail end, in the middle, or the head? Okay, you let me know. Here, say yes or no. Here. Okay, here. Okay, a lot of you said here, so I'm gonna go here. I'm holding this down. I draw this, I trace it, but only to where the dog and the horizon line is. Okay? So that's going to be the sun. And then I get to use my ruler to draw sun rays. So I do it this way. One there. Now I'm going to put this line here. And I don't want it to be perpendicular to each other like railroad tracks. I want them to be wider at the top, narrower at the bottom. So I have to remember to do that. Make it a little wider like sun rays. Let me see here. And remember, you can always erase. And if this is not your only picture you're doing, you can afford to mess up. Be perfectly okay. Now you also got to keep track of which is colored in and which is not. Like that has to be colored in, that's not, that is, that's not. So which one's which, right? So let me go back over here. I would probably want this to be more out. So let me change that a little bit. Yeah, so I can erase that. So let me go back over here now. Just like this. Don't forget that when you reach another object, you have to stop and start again. And right about there. Okay, so you can see the sunrise behind it, sun rays, excuse me. So now if I want to do something else in the sky, like clouds, I could do clouds like this. Let me zoom in so you can see some of the special things I'm putting in here. For instance, I could put a cloud this way. The bottom like this. Put some bumps. These lines here have to be erased. And I'm not trying to color these in to make it look like real clouds. Remember, it's going to be a little more like a cartoon. He has stars, a spaceship, and some birds. So I'm going to try and do a bird maybe right here. So I'm kind of looking at the bird that he's got. And come down here. Comes up. And the tail feathers are here. And another wing is over here. You see how I did that? Now, I really wasn't trying to get a realistic bird. I was just looking at his bird and trying to do it something like his. And how about now he's got a spaceship, but I think I can do a rocket ship here. Maybe like a torpedo or something like that. And let me see how this would work out. And putting that behind it, something like that. And I can even put a little design in it and erase this line and erase that line. And he also has some stars. Now some of you don't know how to do stars without doing it this way, so watch what I do. I'm gonna put a star here. I go slanted, I come back up here like a V that's falling. I cut across, come back down, connect these two. I make a star. Now, I don't want these extra lines in there, so I did it kind of light. I can now erase the inside. Then I can go back over and trace this part. And if you do it lightly enough, people will not see the extra lines that you have right in there. So I could do a couple of more stars. Now for the bottom part, since my dog is not going to be in the water, remember I'm looking at this picture here as my guide. So I can do it this way. I can just do a road that comes here. And that's just going to be a road. Then, and if I'm going to have that, I can have, it looks like he has plants and bushes. So I'm kind of copying the idea of my cloud up there. And if you want to put flowers in here, you can do very stylized. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't even see that. Woo, sorry. There you go. I just did some a road, clouds. I'm not clouds, but plants. But they're very similar to the clouds right there. Okay. And now I'm going to start coloring all this in. Okay, to color it in though, I'm going to show you some quick examples here. I'm running out of time because it's like almost 15 minutes now. This is what a student did some time ago. The student did not like the picture, and I kept telling the student, it's not finished. Keep working on it. It's not how you draw, it's how you color. The student wouldn't listen to me. So the student, I said, can I have your picture? He said yes. So now this is my picture. He gave it to me. So with this picture, I did this. It's his drawing. I just added these parts here, these bushes here, the sun right there, and I colored it in with crayon. And this is all, I only added this stuff, and then I colored it in. So that's what I need you to do. Now I will show you that I worked on another picture of my own. Let me see if I can find it here for you. Oh my goodness. Oh, here we go. I did a dog like this, and then I superimposed an American flag over it, and then I colored it in. And then after I did that, I drew a Peter Max style back here. Doesn't look too impressive yet, but then I did the coloring. Now remember, I'm much older than you, and I spent a lot more time on it than you might. But here's my other one. Here's my picture. My Peter Max style picture here. I spent a lot of time trying to blend my colors. I had purple blending into the pink. I had red, orange, and then yellow into these stripes here. I did 3 types of green. The darkest was here, and I slowly tried to blend it down. The same thing with blue. I did 3 different blues. I did a lighter blue, a medium blue, and a darker blue. And I had to go back over this many times. I actually layered colors on top of colors. And I did the same thing with the orange and the yellow here, because the sun was here. I did the sun not with the brightest yellow. The brightest yellow is here. I did a golden yellow here. And then I did hearts. I blended the hearts, you can see, with the pink and the violet, just like I did this part here. And now the stars, I actually cut the stars out and glued them down. But did you notice how everything is outlined in black? And you notice how everything is colored in? The only part that's not colored in is the white, because I wanted some of the white left to keep the semblance of the American flag, the red, white, and blue. If I would have colored this in, you would have had no white in here except for these stars. And the stars are copied over here. So you have the smaller stars, these stars, and then these other stars out here. So this is, I call this my American dog. So now I want you to do the same thing. I want you to pick a picture, choose a picture, try to draw it. If you're getting too frustrated, go ahead and trace it. But the best picture is if you try it yourself. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I showed you, this person here, they didn't like it, but it turned out pretty good when I just colored it in. Then you add some rainbows. You can add sun rays, stars, spaceships, birds, hearts, flowers, all that kind of stuff. But once you're done, you want bright colors. Bright colors. And sometimes he even used neon colors. So let's see what you can do with that. And hopefully you're going to have lots of fun with it. Remember, don't just try it once and give up. Or try it once and say, oh, that's it, I don't need to do anymore. Have fun with it. You can do so many pictures like this. It's just really awesome. Who knows, you may become the next Peter Max. Okay, that's it for me. See you next time.